Welcome to Andrew McAfee Music. Today we're going to talk about bebop scales. Bebop scales are a fun thing to practice, whether you plan to use them in a jazz setting or not. And it should be noted that bebop scales aren't really new scales. It's really just a performance practice thing that's applied to scales that you already know. The idea of bebop scales works like this. The downbeats are all chord tones, and the upbeats are all either diatonic or chromatic passing tones. With most chords, the 7th scale degree is a whole step below the root. So we're going to use a chromatic passing tone between the 7th and the root. However, with some chords, the 7th scale degree is only a half step below the root. In these cases, we're going to put the passing tone between the 5th and 6th scale degree. It's extremely important to learn these scales descending, as historically the bebop language uses descending scales more often than ascending scales. In this video, I'll show you 4 exercises that I've come up with to help you develop some fluidity with your bebop scales, whether they're ascending, descending, or whether you're turning on one of the notes. The first exercise works on playing bebop scales that descend from one chord tone to the next. At the bottom, we're simply just going to turn around. However, at the top, we're going to use the last 2 eighth notes to play surround tones for the next chord tone. When I play surround tones, 90% of the times I use a diatonic upper neighbor and a chromatic lower neighbor. Let's check that out on a C major sound. Next, we'll work on playing our bebop scales ascending through each chord tones. This time when we get to the bottom, we're going to use a chromatic lower neighbor on the end of 4. Let's try this on a C minor 7 chord. Next, we're going to try a pattern that doesn't move through the instrument so fast. We're going to ascend through the scale, but each time we get to a chord tone, we're going to prolong our stay there by playing a chromatic lower neighbor and then repeating that note before we move on to the next note. Let's try that on a C7 chord. Last but not least, we'll use this pattern descending through the scale. However, instead of using a chromatic lower neighbor to hang out on each chord tone, to vary the contour, we're going to use a diatonic upper neighbor. Let's try this on a C minor 7 flat 5, and just for kicks, we'll use the natural ninth on that one. It should be noted that your goal while improvising or composing shouldn't be to play a billion eighth notes where every single downbeat is a chord tone. This is just an exercise to help you navigate the transition from one chord tone to the next. Really, you should practice singing fragments and combinations of these patterns to figure out the ones that you like. Then, if you already have the patterns in your hands, you can easily execute the patterns that you hear. That concludes our video for bebop scales. Thanks so much for watching, and if you like this video, please remember to comment, like, and subscribe, but also stay tuned for more videos. See you next time.